our non-federal partners, including national labs and other DOE offices, the federal agencies you'll hear from at the roundtable next coming up, state agencies, state commissions, tribal and local governments, industry, and other non-governmental partners. And that's why I'm so excited to be here today with about 5,300 of you. The Better Buildings Initiative is a cross-cutting program that's really making a real change across the US economy. EERE's programmatic priorities all focus on decarbonization of different sectors. So we're looking at decarbonization of the power grid, of transportation sector, the industrial sector, of course, US buildings, and the agricultural sector. I'll go into detail about some of these priorities, starting with decarbonization of the US buildings. I don't think I have to tell this crowd that our nation's residential and commercial buildings use about 40% of the nation's energy, and it accounts for over 35% of US carbon emissions. Buildings waste 1/3 of the energy that they consume, while we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year to heat, cool, light, and otherwise power them. We have a really big opportunity in front of us to accelerate the building sector's transformation to meet the growing urgency of the climate crisis. And we have the opportunity to set an example in the federal government, the largest energy user in the whole country. We can improve the efficiency of our federal buildings and facilities, and DOE is doing a lot of work to do that. We're taking a whole of government approach, working with other agencies to help update programs across government to comply with the now current 2019 ASHRAE 90.1 and the 2021 IECC. But we also need to improve the efficiency of the nation's homes, commercial buildings, and industrial plants. And through the Better Buildings Initiative, DOE is accelerating investment and really sharing best practices to help residential and commercial buildings do the real work of cutting energy costs by being more efficient. Another priority that we have at EERE is 100% decarbonized electric grid by 2035, while ensuring that electricity is still affordable, secure, reliable, and resilient for all Americans. A greater focus on renewable energy is also going to protect our country's manufacturing backbone. That's what makes us stronger economically. We can and we should manufacture wind turbines and light bulbs and solar panels right here. Decarbonizing the industrial sector is also a priority for us. The industrial processes currently contribute as much as 20% of the nation's carbon emissions. We're going to electrify industrial process with renewables. We're going to use hydrogen to decarbonize industries like steel. We're going to capture and use emissions and improve the energy efficiency, of course. We're developing specific roadmaps to guide research and development activities to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we're excited to share potential pathways to decarbonization with our non-governmental partners, since we all have a role to play in addressing climate change. And that's where Better Buildings comes in. Better Buildings brings together leaders from every major building sector and showcases how our nation's leading organizations can and are enacting change and reach their energy goals. As the Secretary said, Better Buildings partners, you are the market transformers. Working individually and together within and across sectors, you are expanding what we consider possible. Better Buildings is a platform to highlight and share your leadership, your new ideas, and your innovation. Can we show the slides now? Fabulous, thank you. So before we recognize the partners that the Secretary mentioned who have individually already achieved their goals, I do want to make sure to acknowledge the accomplishments of the partners collectively across the Better Buildings Initiative. Better Buildings partners represent more than 30 of the country's Fortune 100 companies, 12 of the top 25 US employers, 12% of the US manufacturing in energy footprint, and 13% of total commercial building space, as well as 17 federal agencies, 8 national labs, and more than 80 state and local governments spanning the nation. To reach and impact, the reach and impact of Better Buildings and its partners is pretty massive. Together, I think we can achieve change at the market, company, and community level, improving the places where all Americans live, work, play, and shop. Over 360 Better Buildings Challenge partners have saved more than $6 billion since the program's inception. The Better Buildings Solution Center, our online resource and information portal, saw a dramatic increase in users this past year. The Solution Center hosts more than 3,000 solutions across sectors, barriers, and technology types. More than 2,400 workers participated in our first industrial in-plant training since 2011, identifying more than $50 million in potential energy cost savings in manufacturing plants. So thank you for your leadership and your willingness to share what you're doing so that we can learn from each other and meet the challenges that we have in front of us. We will remain dedicated to helping our partners and take steps toward their sustainability goals. And with that in mind, we are pleased to announce the partners who have reached their energy, water, and financing goals. Now is the time to recognize our 2021 class of goal achievers. Our partners rose to the occasion this year and maintained efficiency as a priority, among other priorities surrounding the building occupancy and safety. Many of our partners who usually submit energy and water data weren't able to do so this year because of the pandemic. We appreciate that so many of you were still focused on efficiency despite these unprecedented challenges. Reaching energy and water reduction goals of 20% or more takes a lot of years. The 2020 program required new innovations in data normalization in order to identify the savings. So I'm pleased to announce that we have 12 partners who met their Better Buildings energy, water, and financing goals this year. Let's see the video recognizing our 2021 goal achievers. That was great. You can see here on the screen the logos of all of the 2021 goal achievers. Again, a huge congratulations to all of you who have worked tirelessly over the years to get to this point today. Next slide, please. We've highlighted many of the program's accomplishments, but we're not done yet. Partners continue to lead the way in new program areas, including water, waste, and more. Additional accomplishments and goals met include more than 10 billion gallons of water saved, more than 550,000 tons of waste diverted, over $3 billion of financing extended in the past year. 220 partners joined our newest technology campaigns, the Building Envelope and Integrated Lighting campaigns, and more than 100 joined the most recent Better Buildings Accelerators, focused on addressing barriers to workforce development and making infrastructure improvements in wastewater and correctional facilities. The Smart Energy Analytics campaign concluded its work advancing the use of energy management and information systems, or EMIS, technologies in everyday building operations. Participant savings are projected right now at 4.1 tera-BTUs and $95 million annually across more than 550 million square feet. You can see their results in the Smart Energy Analytics campaign toolkit on the Solution Center. So, as to the low carbon pilot partners, Better Buildings started as a program about efficiency, and then we added water and then waste. And then, as the secretary just announced, our next step is carbon. We're really pleased to highlight the more than 50 industry leading organizations who have committed to demonstrating viable pathways to low and no carbon buildings. These organizations are doing something incredibly important, which is signaling to the market and to America and to the world that low carbon is not only possible, but it can enrich the buildings where we live, work, and play. We are so excited to explore the pathways our partners create toward a low carbon future, and we really hope that you'll join us on this journey. All solutions and updates, of course, will be shared online on the Better Buildings Solution Center. And now, thank you for spending some time with me, and let's transition back to Maria.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate both you and Secretary Granholm taking time to be with us today. So congratulations again to our 2021 goal achievers and to those participating in our pilot to demonstrate and better understand the pathways to move beyond energy efficiency to low and no carbon buildings. It's now my pleasure to highlight other partners, many of you stepping up in important ways and signaling leadership within your communities, your sectors, and nationally. First, we'd like to recognize those of you who, after achieving your first goal, came back for some more. These organizations that you see on the screen have stepped up to a second and sometimes third goal and are continuing to work with us as part of the Better Buildings and Better Plans family, and we're thrilled to have you. In addition, we'd like to recognize our partners who are on track to meet their Better Buildings commitments. Better Buildings partners are big. You saw the video. They're big, they're small. Some of them have gone through mergers, all different reasons that organizations take time to make these commitments. So I just want to share a couple slides broken down by sector of our partners who are very much on track and who we congratulate on their work so far. In the commercial sector, we have a number of partners who continue to work hard to reach their goal. In the industrial sector as well, many multifamily partners are continuing to work with us in this really important sector of the economy. And then in state and local and our education partners, both K through 12 and higher ed, a number of partners doing great work to really drive, innovate, and be creative about pursuing their energy efficiency goals. We'd also like to welcome new partners who joined us in the last year. We're so glad to have you as part of the program, and we look forward to what you all will accomplish in partnership with us. Your partnership really does strengthen the program. Welcome aboard. Next, I want to highlight the 2021 Green Lease leaders. In 2012, DOE, through the Better Buildings Initiative, partnered with the Institute for Market Transformation to develop a Green Lease Leaders Awards program to really shine a light on forward-thinking real estate companies and practitioners who are modernizing their leases to spur collaborative action amongst landlords and tenants, and to drive greater efficiency and sustainability in buildings. And this year, we're pleased to recognize over 40 organizations at 3 different levels for Green Lease Leader recognition. So the slides you'll see are those winning and being awarded gold recognition, silver recognition, and special recognition for being part of teams making it happen. Next, we want to talk about last year. Last year, 2020, was a challenging year for all of us. But we were thrilled that our partners, as both Kelly and the Secretary alluded to, continued to work with us, and we were able to launch several new initiatives across the Better Buildings initiative. So you've already heard about the low carbon pilot, but it really does signal an important first step as we focus on the future and building on the energy efficiency work that we've already done in our buildings, our plants, and our multifamily housing. We also were able to launch and work with partners on a new industrial technology validation pilot, as well as a smart diagnostic tools campaign focused on the residential sector. So we're thrilled to have those of you working with us on these new efforts. And if you're interested, please be sure and reach out. As the Secretary said, come talk to us because we'd love to have you as part of these efforts as well. So On the theme of being creative last year, I want to spend the next couple minutes recognizing partners who found creative ways to stay involved and contribute to the Better Buildings Initiative this past year. We recognize and appreciate that while our partners, all of us really dealt with competing priorities, many of you were able to keep energy efficiency in the foreground of your work. We greatly appreciate you partners for not only continuing to prioritize efficiency, but for your willingness to share with others and your continued commitment to save energy. Those of you who've been around Better Buildings for a while know that one of the things that we really love to do is to travel and to see the work that you're doing in your multifamily housing, in your manufacturing plants, in the buildings that you run and operate. Well, we couldn't do that during the pandemic, but we had a number of our partners step up in a really creative way and volunteered to host some of our very first virtual site visits, opening their doors and showcasing their very energy efficient properties. So thank you to the state of Maryland, Iron Mountain Data Centers, and Ford Motor Company. And for those of you watching, if you missed any of these virtual tours, we're going to repeat them on Wednesday afternoon as part of the summit. Great opportunities to see, albeit virtually, but it almost feels like you're there. And it's an opportunity to see what these organizations in very different kinds of buildings were able to do and the savings they were able to generate. Also, because a lot of us spent a lot of last year on Zoom, we tried to make lemonade out of lemons, and we hosted more webinars last year than ever before, and we had no shortage of partners and affiliates who were willing to step up from nearly every sector and share their expertise. So on the slide, we really want to thank those organizations who stepped up and shared their learning, their advice, their insights as part of the work they were doing on webinars. We were also able to launch last year our first ever summer series. That really was an outgrowth of not being able to do a full summit. And there were sessions we knew we really wanted to engage with partners to share their learning. And so those summit sessions, if you will, became part of a summer series of webinars. And we're delighted to tell you that we're going to do another summer series again this year. But we are very appreciative to partners who shared their expertise via webinars. One of the things that makes Better Buildings partners so amazing, and truly the leaders that we know you are, is your willingness to share. Both Secretary Granholm and Acting Assistant Administrator Speaks Bachman mentioned the Solution Center and the importance of solutions. So even though we were in a pandemic last year, we had more than 60 partners share new solutions. More about the Solution Center in a minute, but if you haven't checked out the Solution Center, it's an incredibly robust opportunity to learn from partners who are willing to share what they've learned, good and bad, and the real world experience and success that they've had in driving efficiency at their plants and buildings. Next, I'd like to recognize these industrial partners for the impressive energy efficiency projects and practices that set them apart this year. You'll have the opportunity to hear from some of these partners in the Better Projects and Better Practice awardee session at the summit later this week. We hope you'll join in. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Solution Center. We talked a minute ago about the Solution Center and the importance of this platform, this dynamic platform that allows our partners and really anyone across the U.S. economy take advantage of the learning and leadership of partners working with us in Better Buildings. When partners join with Better Buildings, they commit to share solutions, and we share these as part of the Solution Center. By sharing these experiences, the obstacles, the outcomes, and the lessons learned, our partners are able to help one another and the building sector at large. And while we organize partners often into sectors, often the solutions have applications beyond a particular sector. For those of you who remember, that's why we did the Better Building Swap, to make it clear that a lot of times when it comes to driving greater efficiency, you can look and learn from organizations that don't look like you, and that there's tremendous opportunity in sharing those solutions across the board. So if you haven't checked out the Solution Center, we encourage you to do that. All of the wonderful thought leadership that we've mentioned so far today, the summit presentations, the webinars, the partner solutions, they're all online at the Solution Center. And the Solution Center is an incredibly and immensely valuable resource for all of you. We have a short video to just share with you a little bit more about the Solution Center. So if we can run that now, we'll share that with all of you. Wonderful. Well, thank you. And we hope that all of you have bookmarked the Solution Center on your computer and continue to use it as the resource, the helpful resource that we work very hard to make sure it is. I do want to share a couple things with you before we close today's sessions. One thing I wanted to make sure to highlight for all of you was mentioned by both the Secretary and the Acting Assistant Secretary, and that is a roundtable. It is a White House roundtable with government and industry that's coming up today at 4:15. This will be a really nice opportunity to participate and listen in on a roundtable where we have government leadership and industry leadership take the very first step in a discussion about decarbonization, not only across the federal family, but really what it's going to take across the US economy to make that happen. And I think that it will be a great opportunity for us all, again, as the very first step, and be looking for other opportunities to engage with both the Department of Energy and our sister federal agencies and departments as we all look together to explore the opportunities that exist when it comes to decarbonizing our buildings and plants in this country. There are a couple other sessions we have highlighted here. Those have been very popular in the past, and I think this year you won't be disappointed. We have a session tomorrow at 11 where we've asked representatives from 3 of the national labs to sit down with our Department of Energy Undersecretary and really do something that they don't often do. It's prognosticate, think about, and talk about the things that the 2 or 3 things that they're really excited about coming out of the national labs. So I would encourage you to tune into that session. It always promises to be a very, very exciting and informative session designed for you, end users of energy, people who are managing buildings, homes, and plants across the country. So we didn't ask them for pie in the sky, 10-year research predictions, but it's really the emerging trends and the things that they're excited about today. So I encourage you to join that session. I also want to bring to your attention the closing plenary. That's Thursday at 3:45. The closing plenary is very much focused on what's important to us as the Better Buildings Initiative, and that is our partners. So we've asked a couple of our partners to really speak to you and to talk a little bit about their experience. We've asked very different partners across very different sectors of the economy to share what's working, what's not, what they're excited about, what they're scared about, some of their challenges. So it's a perspective, from partners and their perspective as part of the closing plenary. So we encourage you to make sure that session is on your summit dance card as well. That would be great. So one of the final asks that we have to share with you today is to make sure that you fill out the survey. We're going to ask you as you come to summit sessions to fill out surveys telling us how we did. So please, once you can go into Slido now, or when this session is over, the poll will be open for the rest of the evening. So please feel free to give us feedback. We do want your feedback. It helps us improve every year. We're really hoping that next year we're in person, but it doesn't matter. We want your feedback because the feedback you give us is important, not only about how we did virtually, but the topics that you're interested in, the issues that are important to you, and how we can make the summit a better experience for all of you attending. Lastly, I wanted to share with you a little bit about what happens after the summit. So if we can show the slide oh, okay, sorry. No, that's my fault. Let's go back. So this is the rest of the summit at a glance. This is available online. I'm sure many of you have seen this, but we really have planned, based on your feedback as partners, for 40 interactive sessions as part of this year's summit. Topics all across the board, again, topics that you told us were important to you. So please do feel free to join as many of those as you can and are able to. Give us feedback, chime in, lend your voice, lend your questions, lend your thoughts to those discussions. We as a Better Buildings and Better Plans team are very focused on making the session as interactive as possible. So please do feel free to sign up for as many sessions as you can. We talked a little bit about the summer webinar series. These are this year's sessions as part of our webinar series. As you can see, we're going to kick it off with a very hot topic, and that is how to go about electrifying our buildings. We've got some end users that are going to be part of that webinar and are going to be the speakers as we talk about things that are working and things that remain challenges for those partners acting now to pursue electrification for their buildings and plants. We will be the second, as we mentioned, this is the second summer, and we're thrilled about being able to do that. So lastly, please share your thoughts and connect with others online by using the hashtag Better Buildings Summit 2021. Follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn for more updates. Stay in touch with us. I like what the secretary said. Come talk to us. She's exactly right. And that's the way we feel as Better Buildings too. So I really do want to thank Secretary Granholm and Acting Assistant Secretary Kelly Speaks-Bachman for being with us today. And thank you, most of all, for being part of the audience and for joining us today as we kick off the 2021 Better Buildings Summit. We hope you'll join us in our next session, the roundtable, featuring a number of cabinet folks. That'll be starting in just a few minutes. And finally, please remember, your feedback is important. We want to make you part of an integral part of the Better Buildings Summit this year. We're thrilled you're here and can't wait to hear from you. Congratulations to all of our partners who have met their goals and are continuing to pursue and lead the way to greater efficiency. And for those of you that aren't partners, please think about joining. We'd love to have you as part of the Better Buildings family. With that, we'll close the opening plenary, give you a couple minutes, and please join us at the next session on advancing building decarbonization. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to the summit.